Hi, I'm Nick Ross for iTWire. Today we're with Citrus Consulting. If you guys could tell us who you are and what do you do, please?
Sure. Hi, Nick. Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Swinbourne. I'm the CTO for Cloud Architecture across APAC at NetApp.
Hi, Nick. I'm Adrian Hall. I'm one of the two directors of Citrus Consulting. We're a company based in New Zealand selling NetApp technologies. Started with Citrus Consulting in around 2015. It's owned by myself and Kevin Rapson. Quickly became a gold reseller for NetApp in the first year. And we've been around NetApp technologies now for the last 20 plus years. So all of the team in there are highly qualified now and certified in stuff that we do for NetApp. So we've now grown into a company that also hosts people as well. So we've got our own environment where we do hosting for production workloads, for DR workloads, for backup workloads, as well as still doing what we've always done, which is sell NetApp systems. So our partnership with NetApp has been since day one. We've always, for the past 20 plus years, both myself and Kevin, who own the company, have been working around NetApp technologies. And so it was logically the way to go when Citrus was started. Even building onto the cloud environment that we've now got in 3 or 4 different locations, it's got NetApp technology in there. We've always trusted that technology.
And what does Citrus Consulting's lifestyle services certification with NetApp mean for customers? And I think mainly New Zealand, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just in New Zealand for us. About 2 or 2.5 years ago, we decided to certify for this lifecycle services certified. It's difficult. It's not easy because we're basically taking away level 1 and level 2 support from NetApp. We do that for them now for our customers. So we will take all of the cases for them. In fact, the customer now can't talk to NetApp. We do that for them if we need to go to level 3. On top of that, if there's any hardware replacements, we also do that sort of thing for them as well. It just allows us to add a lot more value for these lifecycle certified customers because we can also now provide them reporting on any risks, any capacity issues, all of that kind of thing. So we're just able to add a lot more value to their environment.
What trends and government frameworks do you see having the biggest impact on business leaders in New Zealand?
My first thought on this is always security. It's always the biggest thing that everybody's worried about. But I mean, the trends we're seeing, everybody's now talking about AI, ML. And it's with us, it's the ability to be able to enable our customers to make more use of this. Not that we supply the AI and the ML the workflows for them. They're using those from public cloud, from other providers. But we're able to put the data in the right place for them when they require it using the tools that we use.
And what local data center guarantees do you make to customers and why?
Why, yeah. So the guarantees we make is security, again, for a start. We also, not just around security of access to the data, but around the protection of the data itself. So the guarantees we make are around switching on anti-ransomware technologies that are built into the operating system of the storage to make sure that's on by default. We don't charge for that. It's on by default. We deem that to be a necessity now. The other guarantees we give are around space utilized. We don't charge for what we provision to a customer. We charge for what they use. So we typically had one customer a few years ago who we copied 110 terabytes of their data. We billed them for 75 because they got so many efficiencies out of this data. We immediately got a phone call saying, "Where's the rest of my data?" We had to reassure them that they were being billed for 110, but really it's only 75 now.
And how are local business leaders balancing growing demand for public cloud with data sovereignty over there?
Yeah, it's difficult. There's a lot of questions around data sovereignty and who actually has the sovereignty of that data wherever it resides. I mean, the difficulty at the moment is around things such as the data we have on our systems is 99% of the time owned by a New Zealand-based company. It's stored on infrastructure that's owned by a New Zealand-based company in New Zealand. Data sovereignty really isn't an issue there. But when we get on to the bigger hyperscalers, they're bringing equipment in from other countries. They're owned by other country jurisdictions. Who's got the rights to the access to that data ultimately? Has the NSA got rights to data in New Zealand? Maybe because it's hosted on an American company's systems. So that's the sort of thing we're seeing. I mean, when it gets down to sovereign data, indigenous data, and then also down to Maori data as well, there are different sort of ways of looking at it. We're seeing data sovereignty is really around the place that it's stored in. When you start talking about indigenous data sovereignty, you're talking about the place it was actually created, not necessarily where it was stored. So you want this data sovereignty to be with the people who created it. When you go beyond that to, that's a global thing, indigenous data sovereignty. But when you look at New Zealand, let's say specifically, you're looking at Maori data, and then you're looking at enabling the next level down to have the governance, which is the iwis themselves. So, we're trying to keep, although it's all about data governance, you're trying to keep government out of it.
And can you tell us about Citrus and NetApp's ethical data management practices? So
the way we manage data with the NetApp technology, we try to make sure that, as part of using ethics as well, we're talking about sustainability as well as just making sure it's secure, making sure that nobody's got access to the data that shouldn't have access to the data. I mean, we as a company, we have access to the management layer. We don't have access to the data layer unless a customer specifically employs us to manage that data for them. 99% of customers don't do that. They manage the data themselves. We just give them a platform to put it on. So we're just ensuring that happens for them. But on top of that, around things like sustainability, we're making sure that the equipment we use is as sustainable as possible. We're using higher capacity SSDs, which, you can store more in a 2U environment now than you could 5 years ago. That would take almost a rack up. We're using less power. We're actually reporting on that sort of thing as well to the customers. So we can, at board level, they're asking for that sort of reporting.
And how does NetApp's partnership with Citrus ensure compliance to New Zealand's data sovereignty principles and privacy frameworks? I know you've covered that a little bit, but a bit more detail on that one.
Yeah. So do you want to repeat that question again? Sorry.
Yes. So how does NetApp's partnership with Citrus ensure compliance to New Zealand's data sovereignty principles and privacy frameworks?
So for Citrus, security and privacy are key. We, like I said just now, we have access to the management layer of our systems, but unless we've got specific agreements, we don't go anywhere near the data layer. We literally don't have access to them, even through our networks. The same for our customers with their own systems around data management. We have to include, like I said before, sustainability.
How does Citrus integrate AI with its solutions for customers?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, we're not the suppliers of AI. We don't have AI workloads, but we use a lot of AI tools to watch the data, to handle the security of the data as well. So built into the operating system of the storage, we've got anti-ransomware, which is constantly looking for users' fingerprints of how they work. A guy comes into the office every day, opens up the same spreadsheet, same Word documents every day for 5 years. One day in the 6th year, he downloads 5 terabytes of data onto a disk. This is immediately alerted. It's unusual activity. It's not always about the bad guys trying to get in. Sometimes it's the good guys inside that are your bad guys. So we've got that sort of thing going on, but also we're able to do reporting on the systems that we have and the systems that our customers own through the AI tools that NetApp have, looking at their call home alerts from every system globally. It allows us to be proactive around making sure that firmware updates are done proactively. We're updating operating systems proactively. We're making sure that if there's a security risk, not a breach, but a risk, we're closing that before it actually gets hit. So we're using all of the tools we can as possible.
And does NetApp have any separate AI tools on top of everything there? Or is it all integrated with what Citrus is doing?
Most of it's integrated with what Citrus is doing. There are a few others outside of that around some of their cloud platforms, such as DataSense, which allows us to use tools to interrogate the metadata and the data across different platforms to work out what's in there, such as credit cards, driver's license, passport numbers, that sort of thing. There's also stuff around ransomware in a separate tool, which allows us to lock accounts. We can, a user comes in and downloads something, we can lock accounts. We're using it also to block file types. So ransomware users are like taggers. They like to use the same extensions for files when they encrypt things and that sort of thing. We can use the tools built into the operating system and other tools to stop those file types being written at all.
And how does Citrus collaborate with government agencies and critical infrastructure providers when it comes to cybersecurity?
So again, for Citrus, it's around ensuring the systems that we either sell or host them on are utilizing all of the tools to assist. We've found generally throughout my time working on any infrastructure, customers buy things and they use about 10% of its capability. We're trying to make sure that every customer uses as much as they possibly can of the built-in tool sets that they've bought. Whether that's ransomware monitoring for rogue users, but we also run regular updates for all of our customers and prospective customers to make sure that they're aware of all these tools, and we bring all of this to their attention to make sure that they're using these tools as often as possible. I mean, it helps in our sales cycle too. If they use all of these tools, then they're going to carry on wanting to buy more and more of this going forward. That we're replacing like with like.
How can potential partners work with you? Do you go through channel or direct or what?
So the way we work with NetApp specifically is a channel partner agreement. We purchase through a distributor from NetApp, and we either use it ourselves or we on-sell to customers. For our own infrastructure, we're working direct with organizations, whether they're Australia, New Zealand, it doesn't matter. But yeah, most of the stuff we do with NetApp is channel.
And just finally, I mean, this is typically where I ask if you'd like to add anything to iTWire's B2B audience on this, and it should probably be targeted at Matt. Is there anything you'd like to add on this? It's been a bit one-way traffic here.
Probably the thing that I would add would be the importance of having local partners, right? So if you're a business in New Zealand and you're looking for somebody to work with around data governance, ethics, strategy, sovereignty, including Indigenous data sovereignty, which is a large and complex beast that we've really only skimmed across the top of. I would highly recommend the folks at Citrus. They're in New Zealand, run by New Zealanders, and they understand all of the challenges that are there. They have access to all of our knowledge globally, as well as our platforms globally, and I think they're really a powerhouse for you to get your business not only secure, but also thriving and to a point where your data governance is empowering your business and sort of pushing it to the next level to make the use of the available technology out there.
Adrian, do you want any final comments?
Basically, it's reciprocal to Matt, really. I mean, we've worked with NetApp now for myself and Kevin, the two owners of the company. We've worked with NetApp for over 20 years. And we've stuck with NetApp because of the ethical way they work. We have worked with other manufacturers in the past, not storage manufacturers, but other vendors in the past, who we've never really found they're as ethical as NetApp have always been. NetApp has always made sure that everything is done channel, everything. They would never go direct to your customers. And just working with the guys both here in New Zealand and in Australia and pretty much globally, it's just we all get on really well. We've known each other for a long time. I mean, I've known Matt for years now, way before Citrus. So and Matt Herford, who's now running NetApp for Australia and New Zealand, I've known him almost since he came to NetApp 15 years ago. So the relationship is just great.
Hey, Adrian and Matt, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.